Good Thursday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson. Let's go ahead and talk about the weather for your Thursday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we're going to talk about tonight. But first off, if you weren't here this morning, Happy New Year to you. It is 2026, first evening forecast of 2026. I already had the first forecast done this morning. And so we're about to go on and talk about the weather for our New Year's Day evening going into our short term future, long term future, and we're going to talk about the month of January. This is the January 2025 forecast for South Carolina, and it's time to talk about what this month's going to bring in terms of weather. Now, before we get into that, if you have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. It's free, and you can change your mind at any time. Right now, if I go on and look right now, see how many likes we have. We have like around a good, okay, I don't know what the world's going on here. There we go. All right, we have around like a good 4 likes right now. We have 7 people watching. 4 likes, 7 people watching. If you're part of that 3 that have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Also, if you have not hit the subscribe button, go on and hit the subscribe button. If you're new, we have 647 subscribers trying to get to that main goal of 700. We are 53 away from that goal and only 3 subscribers away from the halfway marker, that being 650. So let's keep it pushing there, and also share with your friends, family members, acquaintances, people you don't like, anybody. You can go on and share it with them. And so let's go on now and talk about what are we going to talk about tonight. Well, obviously we will talk about what's currently going on throughout the state, what's currently going on throughout the region, just in general. We also will talk about what's going to happen tonight. We're going to talk about tomorrow. And then we also will talk about what's going to happen in terms of our short-term future, long-term future, and obviously for the month of January. So we're going to start off first by talking about what's currently going on in terms of our radar right now. Absolutely nothing. We are nice and dry right now throughout the entire state of South Carolina, nice and dry. But if we scroll our way out, see what's going on throughout the entire U.S., we do in fact have some snowfall going on from New York to Michigan to Wisconsin, even over here into Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, all of these areas right here, getting in on some snowfall. We also do have some snowfall going on in Maine as well. Rainfall ongoing for a lot of the West. I mean, a lot of precipitation. You have precipitation all the way from Texas to Oklahoma to Kansas to Colorado to New Mexico to Wyoming. And then also over there inside of Washington State, Montana, Idaho, Oregon, California, Nevada, just a bunch of precipitation going on throughout this entire western area. And we have a little bit of a clear spot right now, kind of going on with us over here inside of the Midwest, Southeast, going on in the North Central U.S. as well. And so it looks like right now we're not getting as much, but trust me, rainfall is coming, and we'll talk about that. Cloud cover right now looks to be relatively fine. I mean, we do have some cloud cover. I can kind of see up there inside of the upstate. We'll look at the cloud cover for the long-term future, but everyone else looks relatively clear right now. We'll go on and look at our cloud cover for the future. Go on and push this forward. You can see there goes all that cloud cover. 12 o'clock in the morning, trying to move its way through the state. Going all the way to around 7 o'clock in the morning. We're completely covered with cloud cover by that point at 7 o'clock a.m. All the way to 11 a.m., we still are staying relatively on the cloudy side to 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., all the way over to 6 p.m. It just looks like that cloud cover will remain as we continue our way through. Then even as we get into 1 o'clock in the morning here on Saturday, so this is past tomorrow. This is going into tomorrow night, going into early Saturday morning. Cloud cover still making a big entrance, even going into 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. We move on to 10 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, still cloudy. And you just continue to push that forward, and you just continue to see cloud cover all throughout Saturday as well. And so we will not see the sun, or some people may not see the sun for a good little bit. Current temperatures right now, you have around 44 in Somerville, 48 in Charleston, even around 51 in Beaufort, 52 inside of Hilton Head Island, and even around a good 46 up there near Orangeburg. Over here in the PD, Grand Strand, you have around 45 in Florence, 45 also inside of Sumter, 43 in Conway, and 48 in Myrtle Beach, 48 in Murray's Inlet, and 44 Georgetown, 48 inside of North Myrtle Beach. Over here inside of the Midlands, you have around 45 in Columbia, 48 in Aiken, as well as 46 in Newbury, 48 inside of Greenwood, 44 over there near Lancaster. And then inside the upstate, you have around a good 46 in Gaffney, 45 York, 43 in Rock Hill, and 44 in Union, 46 Spartanburg, and 44 in Greenville, 48 Clemson, and 49 in Anderson. Low temperatures for tonight, you have around good 39 in Greenville, 39 inside of Spartanburg, and even 38 in Rock Hill, 41 inside of Winsboro, and 40 in Columbia, 38 in Camden and Sumter, and even around 36 in Florence, 35 in Dillon, and 43 in Myrtle Beach, 38 in Georgetown, and 39 in Moncks Corner, 44 in Charleston, and 45 inside of Hilton Head Island, 38 in Walterboro, and 40 over there near Orangeburg and Aiken. High temperatures for tomorrow, you have around 61 in Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson, 60 inside of Rock Hill, and even around a good 64 in Columbia, 64 also inside of Orangeburg and Sumter, Barnwell, Walterboro, Moncks Corner, Charleston. I mean, just look at all the areas that have 64 as their high temperature. 64 over there near King Street and Hilton Head Island, 63 Georgetown, and 62 inside of Myrtle Beach. Rainfall as we move throughout the next 24 hours or so, not expected. So we're not going to have any rainfall as we move throughout the next 24 hours, so we're good here. Crazy score for tonight, we're at a 37. You might be asking, well, why in the world are we at a 37? Well, it's relatively simple, the explanation for it. It is because, well, for the most part, it does have to do how we're going to have some more cooler temperatures. That's inside that moderate category, noticeable widespread, just cold temperatures going on throughout the state. If you go back and look at those low temperatures, not quite freezing, but definitely still, cold. But that's not the main reason, not the main. We go in and look at the other reasons, obviously. It's also going to be like a pretty dry, enhanced chill. No wind, no precipitation, no snow, no storms or anything like that. But just make sure that even though it might not be freezing, that you still are taking this cold seriously. Because, even right now at my house, it's around 41-ish degrees. But if I go in and look at the low temperatures, it's only around a good 2 degrees off from where it is now. So 2-3 degrees off from where it is now. So it's already getting cold relatively quickly. So let's go on now and look at the SPC outlook for the next 3 days. Tonight, thunderstorms not expected. Tomorrow, if you're in like the not the coastal, but the state line in between South Carolina and Georgia, right there, up there in the very far upstate, you might see a thunderstorm tomorrow if the ingredients are right and if the convection, if the rainfall is right. But if it's not, you won't. But the ingredients are right there. But the day that I'm mostly looking at right now is Saturday. Saturday, January the 3rd, 2026. This is the day that we've been talking about for a while now. I said Saturday was not going to be a good day. If you had to get something done, definitely do not do it on Saturday. Saturday is not the day that you want to do it. I've been saying that since almost the beginning of the week. And it looks like that marginal risk of severe weather has now popped up for the Western Lowcountry and even for the Western Midlands as well, especially the Western Southern Midlands. Thunderstorm activity as well could possibly go on for Florence all the way over to Columbia, to Aiken and Myrtle Beach, to Charleston. But that marginal risk right there mainly just takes place in that Western Lowcountry near like Hilton Head Island, Beaufort, and then up there near like Allendale and other places. Excessive rainfall, though. Excessive rainfall, we're good in terms of the next 5 days in terms of flash flooding. So let's go on now and look at the models. So we're going to start off here and go straight over to the models right now. Again, same thing going on with the website. I'm not quite sure why it's not working. Nothing on my end, because everything else works fine. So I think it's something on their end that they need to fix, because for some reason it's just not working. But here we go right here. The models right here, you go in and push this forward all the way through. This goes all the way into tomorrow morning, nice and dry. Going into tomorrow night, nice and dry. We're not looking at anything in terms of rainfall for the next 24 hours, so that was not that much of a surprise. But it's really until we get into like late tomorrow night going into that Saturday morning that we start to see that rainfall. Here we go, around a good 31 hours out from now. Around a good 31 hours out. Rainfall starting to make its way up there inside of the upstate, and that will continue to move its way throughout the east. You go around 35 hours out into the future, and look at this. All of this rainfall right here trying to move its way throughout the state. And there goes the low pressure. You can see the low pressure right over there, and where the center of circulation is for it. And then you have the rain shield going throughout the state. Now that moves its way through all the way throughout the 40-hour mark, all the way into the 48-hour mark. And you can see all of this rainfall. But what I'm looking at is this line right here, and these lines that come along with the system, because obviously that margin risk of severe weather is there. That margin risk of severe weather is there. And so as it continues to move its way over towards the south and east, we will continue to see that threat for severe weather potentially be there. Now, if we go on and look at the actual risk for severe weather in terms of the ingredients for it, because I did show you these are the short term and what we have to see there in terms of our short term, in terms of the timing, I do want to go in and see what the NAM says, see if the NAM works. The NAM should work. I go back over here. Oh, well, actually, now the models want to work now that I leave it, but I can actually show you on here now then, because apparently, of course, when it doesn't want to work, when I don't want to use it, but here it is. So we go in and push this forward. Like I said, there you can actually see the time in the top right, and so you said as I go in and push this forward east even more, you can see all the way 7 a.m. here on January the 3rd, all this rainfall that tries to move its way through, all the way to 11 a.m. here on January the 3rd, all the way over into around 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., all the way over to 7 p.m. on January the 3rd. And so, like I said, that threat seems to want to try and start off like as early as 12 a.m. on January the 3rd. But it will last pretty much almost most of the day, throughout the morning and throughout the afternoon. But the thing I want to look at is that severe weather risk. So we can go on right now and check it out. If we go over into the dew points, obviously with severe weather, you need to have dew points. You need to have moisture. And you can see those dew points, that system is just bringing enough moisture, just enough on those dew points to bring it up all the way to around 61 degrees in dew point. So that is the reason why. And you can see up here, the moisture is just not enough. The moisture is not enough. If we had dew points in the 60s throughout the state, we would potentially be talking about another severe weather situation outside of just the low country area and maybe even the southern Midland area. But since the dew points are too low, we're not going to really be talking about it like that. And you can also look at it in terms of CAPE as well. And you can see the CAPE right there. The purples, the dark colors, that's not black. Over here, in this CAPE right here, that's what's causing this severe weather right here to form. Convective available potential energy to go on and move throughout that lower region. So, I will say continue to monitor that. We'll continue to monitor that going into Saturday. Make sure that if you're inside of the low country or the southern Midlands that you're watching for it. Make sure that you are watching for it, because this could grow. This could grow. So we're going to continue to wait on it, see what they say, until we get into Saturday. But we're going to have to continue to just wait on it. So that's all I have to say in terms of the short-term future. Just a little severe weather risk to talk about for Saturday. And so what about the long-term future? What about the long-term future? Well, we're going to start off here at the 54-hour mark. You go in and push this forward right here. You can see all the way through January the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th. Just nice and dry. Now, we do start to see some rainfall, maybe trying to rise a little bit. And so, I actually do have my pen so I can show you this better. But you can see kind of how, when I go in and push this forward, you're going to kind of see the moisture try to go a little bit more from out of the Atlantic due to this low pressure over here. And the system over here is going to be pulling moisture up from the Gulf, pulling moisture up from the Atlantic, and it's going to pull it into the system. You see how the rainfall is kind of going up into the system? That will move its way through, and that's what's going to cause some severe weather over there inside of potentially the Midwest, inside of the Ohio Valley. But once it gets to us, it kind of calms down a little bit. You know, we're still 250 hours out, so things can change, but potentially some severe weather as we go into January, 11th, 12th-ish, possibly. But again, like I said, too far out. We continue this even more. You go all the way towards January the 14th, the 15th. Look at all this rainfall that we have here on those days. And look right here on the 16th as well. Another low pressure trying to make its way through. And so in terms of the long term, I mean, it looks like as we go throughout like the first half of January, it looks like that we will definitely be a little bit active, especially as we get into that mid part. But it's really when we get to that mid part, because the first half does not look bad at all. Like I said, it's when we get to that mid part of January where we start to see some stuff going on, excluding the thing tomorrow and Saturday, excluding the system tomorrow and Saturday. Let's go and look at the dew points, because I do want to see if there's any cold fronts trying to move its way through. You go on all the way right here into around January the 4th or so, January the 5th. Some dry air tries to move through, but for the most part, it doesn't really look too much like a cold front. Maybe a little backdoor front, maybe a little weak one, but nothing crazy. This one right here definitely shows a pretty good cold front trying to move through as you go into like January the 10th, 11th, 12th-ish. But for the most part, doesn't seem like anything too crazy. And then the one that I'm really looking at right here is on the 16th, where a huge amount of cold air maybe tries to move its way through there. But we'll talk about the air. We'll talk about the, the patterns and all that kind of stuff. But first, let's talk about the month. Let's talk about the month of January first. So we're going to go on and look at that right now. So in terms of temperatures for this month, for the month of January, it looks like that we will definitely be receiving some warmer than average temperatures as we go into January. We definitely will be receiving some warmer than average temperatures as we go into January. And so, unfortunately, if we do have that chance for that snow, if we have any, snow lovers inside the chat, the option for it would have to be during more of a cooler time. But like you can see right now, warmer than average is what we have here. And so, like I said, there will be portions, there will be times where we will have chance for that snowfall. But if you want snow, unfortunately, this might not be the month. But like I said, I mean, there was, I believe, last year when we had that snow on, like, I believe, like, early, like, January, like the early part of January, I believe, we had that snowfall come through. That was supposed to be a warmer than average month. But look at what happened. So they're not impossible. They're not impossible. But we definitely are still going to have to watch for just this warm air and see, when the pattern, strikes. It has to be almost at perfect timing. And speaking of, let's go ahead and look at the precipitation. Unfortunately, precipitation seems to be below average as well. And so that will not, fare good at all. I mean, we have below average precipitation. We have above average temperatures. That's not going to be too good for the drought. And so if we go on and look at the drought right now, like we already talked about it yesterday, but for the D1 moderate drought right here, going all the way throughout the upstate, all the way throughout that western, midland, and that low country area, not great. Not great to see that. We definitely want to see some above average precipitation for those areas so they can get rid of that drought quicker. And even for the yellow areas, the abnormally dry areas, that go all the way up into Georgetown County, into Williamsburg County, over there inside of the Midlands as well, going up over there into the PD areas as well. We need to try and get all of this dryness up out of the state, but without the rainfall, you're not going to really do anything with it. So now, what about what about our pattern? Just as we continue to go throughout this month, I'll try and go through a good amount of it, but obviously models don't go all the way 30, days out or so. So, but I can go in and look at this right here. We going all the way through, and this right here is around January the 1st, 7 p.m. right here. You have that low pressure out there in the west. You have this trough over here going on inside the east. And you're starting to kind of build a little bit of some warm air over there inside the west. But look as we continue this forward. Look at this high pressure that we have over here starting to form. They're starting to see some nice weather over there inside of California, in Nevada, and in like Arizona, to where they've been getting bombarded with rainfall. But then you see this low pressure right here. Right, remember, pay attention to the time in the top right corner of the screen, right here. But January the 3rd comes along. This is the low pressure right here that's potentially going to bring us our severe weather. And while that's going on for us, look at how nice they're getting over there inside the west. You see this big hump right here. That's the sign of a ridge that's bringing in that nice weather, and it's making the storm systems, instead of them going straight across, bringing these areas rainfall, it goes up and then down all the way through, and it travels along that line, and then it goes out. That's the reason why you see the low pressure kind of trying to follow the line a little bit. You continue to forward even more, and then we start to see that those dry conditions that obviously we were seeing. You have another little trough trying to move its way into the U.S. and then go throughout the 8th, the 9th. And then you have like a little bit more of a dip kind of going in a little trough trying to go in around January the 9th or so, bringing in some cooler weather up there inside the north. Maybe some more snowfall activity going on. But if we go over into precipitation, you can see what I'm talking about right here. Continue this forward all the way throughout. And then look at how nice we get over here. This is January the 10th right here. Look at how nice we get over here inside of South Carolina on January the 10th. This is on 216 hours out. We go 216 hours out, and we have this area around us, but it's not impacting us. We're staying dry. Then that area will try to move its way through all the way throughout the 12th. And then another big time storage system may be trying to set up again on the 15th there. And then maybe even another one, a huge Arctic air cold blast trying to move its way through, going into mid-month. And so all this stuff is going to have to be something that we're going to have to watch for, because it all can impact us in significant ways. But that's pretty much all I have to say in terms for the month. Nothing else really for me to talk about patterns wise. And then in terms of temperatures, precipitation wise as well. And so I think that's all that I'm going to say there. But let's go on now and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off, Mr. Griff was here first tonight. He says, good evening, everyone. Hope y'all had a great day. I did. Thank you so much for asking. My Aunt Lula says, Happy New Year to everyone. May everyone have a prosperous year. Thank you so much for that. Praying for you to have the same as well. My Nan says, Hi, Jay. Thanks again to you and James. Love you guys. We love you as well. Thank you so much. And then Mr. Anthony says, Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. Happy New Year's to you. Good evening to you as well. My Aunt Lou says, We had a beautiful day in Georgetown, a little chilly, but sunny and nice. Well, that's good to hear. Same thing at my house. It was nice and sunny today. It was a bit chilly. But for the most part, it was nice and sunny out. She also says it started off a little cold, however, it turned out later on in the afternoon nice. Same thing, like I said, same thing at my house as well. Mr. Chris says, just checked my temperature here in Moncks Corner, and it's 42. Well, go on and check out mine, 41. And my older weather station actually says 40.4. So it's around, like, not too far off at all, only like a degree off. He also says, had a rough day today, not feeling well today or tonight. Well, I'm so sorry to hear that. Hopefully you get better. He also says, please remember to go and hit the like button and the subscribe button. Also share. It's free and it helps the channel grow. He's absolutely correct. Right now, around 13 people have tuned in and we only have 8 likes. So if you're a part of that 5 that have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. It's free. You can change your mind at any time. He also says, everyone, please remember to stay warm, stay safe, and hydrated. Absolutely correct. Had a very nice day in Moncks Corner. A little windy, but not bad. that breeze was going to be kind of just like a little bit up today. We go back to those wind gusts for today. I mean, for the most part, up to 20 miles per hour, maybe 25 for some spots. So I could definitely say it was breezy out there. And then that's all I can see here in terms of for me, the chat in terms of for me. So let's go on now and talk about the 3 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking 3 locations, what are you talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio. No, not San Antonio, not now at least. Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 3 usually would be San Antonio, but we're not doing it right now. The reason why we do these 3 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly. And because they tune in almost nightly, they still go on, they show their support. We go on and give them their forecast because of their support that they show. And their location is not even the main one being talked about, yet they still come and they still do their due diligence of showing support. So let's go on now and talk about them. So starting off with Raleigh first. You have low temperatures tonight at 32, high temperatures tomorrow at 60, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 41. Precipitation not expected at this time. What about severe weather? What about that excessive rainfall risk as well? Well, in terms of excessive rainfall, first, excessive rainfall not expected for you at this time. Severe weather, same thing, not expected for you either. In terms of your weather for your future, it does look like, same thing that I've been saying for the past couple of days. It will rain on Saturday and Saturday night, but you're going to continue just to have those temperatures trying to get up into the 50s. You have lows down into the 30s, 40s or so, but then you'll warm up. You actually will warm up. Tuesday 60, Wednesday 65, Thursday 64. So, as you go into not tomorrow, but Saturday, you only have a high temperature of 47. Sunday 50. Monday 49, but then as you get into Tuesday, it will be up to 60, Wednesday 65, so you will warm up. It'll be in a bit of a cool down for a little bit, but you will warm up again. Then for Philadelphia, you have low temperatures tonight at 22, high temperatures tomorrow at 34, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 21. Precipitation not expected at this time. In terms of severe weather and excessive rainfall, same thing. Weather for your future, pretty much just going to stay cold. You're going to stay cold. Sunday, 37 as your high, low of 21. And then Tuesday, you'll see a little bit of an increase with the high near 44. Wednesday, 51. So you will see a bit of an increase as you go into next week, but it's going to still remain cold. And then for Duncan, Oklahoma, the last location with low temperatures tonight at 42. High temperatures tomorrow at 67, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 39. Precipitation, not expected at this time. Same thing with severe weather and excessive rainfall. For your future, looks like you will definitely be warming up. High temperatures on Monday, 75. Those low temperatures seem to stay around the same, though, but those high temperatures definitely are climbing their way up. And that's all I can see here in terms of your 3 locations outside of South Carolina. So let's go on and talk about what's going on throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise. Well, lake effect snow showers will continue through Saturday, downwind of Lakes Erie, Ontario, and the eastern part of Lake Superior. A series of storm systems will continue to impact California and the Pacific Northwest through the weekend and into next week, bringing widespread rainfall, mountain snowfall, and gusty winds. Coastal flooding is also expected inside of Northern California. So all of that will occur. We also will see some fog as well, some dense fog going on all the way from eastern Montana to the western Dakotas into parts of Nebraska and Kansas. And then as well, we will see some wind as well. Winds around up to 30, 35 miles an hour over there inside of Louisiana going on in southeastern Texas. And that's about all I can see here in terms of the entire U.S. So, let me go on and see who are the top fans of the night tonight. Mr. Chris easily cleared at number 1 today. Maya Lou was at number 2, and then my Nana was at number 3. Congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans of the night tonight. If you want to be a top fan of the night, you can by being here early, being a subscriber of the channel, and typing inside the chat and being active. The more that you type, the more up the board, the more up the leaderboard you will go. And so that's all. So like I said, make sure you come back in tomorrow morning for your Saturday morning forecast update. No, not Saturday. Whoa, I'm a full day at Friday morning forecast update. And we will go on and talk about the weather for tomorrow, and then also going into tomorrow night, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time for that forecast. I'm going into Saturday. I think I'm too focused on that severe weather right now on Saturday. You know, it's been a hot minute since we had some actual severe weather trying to move its way throughout the state. So I'm kind of interested to see, will I go live for it? You know, I don't know. Matters what happens to it, but marginal risk is here. And I usually don't go live for marginal risk. I usually only go live maybe if it's like a high-end slight risk or enhanced. But like I said, we'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens. And so, let me go and check out the chat one more time. Trail Game, she says, greetings everyone, I was sleeping, my apologies, no problem, you made it. And so that doesn't matter, you still left, hopefully you still left a like, but if you didn't, make sure you go on and hit the like button. Right now, we have around a good 13 people that have tuned in and only 9 likes, so if you're a part of that 4 that have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Also, like I said, hit the subscribe button if you're new. 647 trying to get to 700, 53 away from that main goal of 700, and 3 away from that halfway marker at 650. Also share with your friends, family members, acquaintances, people you don't even talk to like that. You know, just anything, anybody, you can just share it. You can share it too. Cheryl says, beautiful day here. That's good to hear. And she said, you know, hit the like button. Well, good to know. Good to know. Glad that you were able to do that. And that's all I can see here in terms of the chat for tonight. So, like I said, make sure you tune back in tomorrow. That wraps up the January forecast update. Going to be warmer than average and going to be less precipitation. So not so good for snow fans, but we're just going to have to continue to wait and see if there's a perfect opportunity that tries to come through. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your New Year's Day, and I'll be back, like I said, tomorrow. Hit those 2 buttons before you leave.